Hello there, everybody. I am happy to be with you on this Friday, checking in with you all like, whew, every single day. This has been my first week doing daily videos, and I'm like, sheesh. I'm energy's fine. Many of you have said, if Fefe, don't burn yourself out. I'm good. I'm good. I love doing this work. I love doing this on the platform with you all. I love your comments, your participation, your intelligence, your passion, the frustration, even, right? The anger that we all feel at times. So this is my pleasure, ultimately, is what I'm trying to convey. And I appreciate your time, your energy. Let's get to a few things, like never a shortage, day by day, never a shortage of what's happening. So yesterday I took a peek at Pam Bondi and said her days were numbered. I didn't know that meant within minutes. For those of you who may not know, I tape early in the morning. I'm an early bird. That's when my energy, I feel like I'm most connected, but I don't release the videos until the afternoon. So a lot of times things happen in that gap, and things were happening in that gap yesterday. So many of you reached out and said, whoa, does this mean that she's going to spill the beans, like, a woman scorned kind of thing? I don't know about that, you all, but I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it because so here's the deal. Part of it is, we know Todd Blanche has, been appointed acting attorney general, right? His own Trump's Trump's personal attorney as attorney general of the United States. Like, since when? Like, woo, it's just unbelievable, the things that we're seeing. And by the way, I noticed when I looked up at my sign, thank you. I had my sign kind of hidden for entertainment purposes. Gotta have that. And I had a few people reach out like, girl, you might need to make sure that sign is visible. I'm with you on that. Thank you for good looking out. All right. Spirit. Pamela Bondi. Is she gonna sing? Is she going to sing? Because she's still under, the subpoena is still active. She was supposed to appear before the House Oversight Committee on April 14th. Technically now, from what I understand, as a quote unquote civilian, she can claim she no longer has access to the files. Her testimony then, like what she's supposed to say, she could very well plead the fifth. And that also helps explain, you all remember, was it last week or the week before, that she went and had this little emergency, she called this emergency closed door meeting with Congress because, and they were like, no, this is not going to work. You still have to testify publicly. Trump apparently was really unhappy with what she has said so far. So a lot of this is what apparently led to her being let go. Spirit, will Pamela Bondi talk? Well, she spilled the beans about the Epstein files. Five of Pentacles, she's feeling really, really hurt, left out in the cold. Another person who was incredibly loyal to him, to Trump, from way back in the day. And now, look, I want to hold that up, even sitting there with that broken coin, just left, literally kicked out the can, right? Just out. Will Pam Bondi talk? Will they continue? Will Congress continue to go after her to honor that subpoena, and will she obey? We have the Ace of Swords. So, and again, I'm sorry. We know all of this is around the Epstein files, and what is it? 3 million files that we understand still have not been released. So yes, they are very much going to go after her. Will she, as a civilian, Spirit, will she plead the fifth? Will she plead the Fifth Amendment rather than talk, if she is forced to testify before Congress? The Wheel of Fortune. It won't work. She probably will try and plead the fifth and try to excuse herself, try to keep from incriminating herself as well. This is, at this point, this isn't just about, in the Wheel of Fortune, a big karma destiny card. And ruled by Jupiter, keeps growing, keeps expanding. This issue will not go away. Spirit has said that for months and months now. So she may, in fact, if they push her and it looks like they will, Congress, to appear before them, she may in fact plead the fifth or try and do so, but it keeps growing. It's like she can't get away from it. And there's the emperor. She's afraid, of course. Um, it's interesting because she still feels a very weird, misplaced loyalty to him. I'm getting that somehow, some way, Trump sold her that I'm letting you go for your own protection, sort of thing. Spirit, am I right about that? Did he try and soften the blow? The high priestess. That's what he did. The high priestess is an energy between what is known and or what is revealed and what is sometimes still hidden, what can be hidden. It is also a card, especially in political situations, of secrets being kept. So I think secretly he sold this to her as, I'm not turning my back on you. I appreciate everything you've done. I am letting you go for your own protection. But going back to this Wheel of Fortune, the Eight of Pentacles, she is going to have to work really hard, because even pleading the fifth is not going to work. They're going to continue to pursue her. This is going to be very, very long term in terms of impacting Bondi's future. She will not get away from this. And also, she said something about, well, I'll just go back to private practice. Spirit, is she going to lose her law license? Will Bondi lose her law license? The Three of Swords, I think so. She's already, if I'm not mistaken, she's been under investigation, or some sort of complaints were filed against her in, I want to say, the state of Florida, where she was admitted to practice and did a lot of her work. At the very least, she is extremely afraid of that. And there's the devil. She's cooked. Because no matter what she does, bondage, chained to, no matter what she does, she is chained to and bound to what she has done over the last some year and some odd, right? Not even, going back to the role that she played with the Epstein situation when she was a state legal, what was she, attorney general? State attorney general for the state of Florida? I want to say yes. Back when Epstein was being prosecuted. So her ties are way too deep. She's done. Private practice is not going to work. I do not. This misplaced loyalty. So for those of you who were asking, woman scorned, will she turn? I don't think so. She's going to go down, but she's also going to pay the price, because Congress is not going to let up on her. And especially when things turn and the balance of power turns, she is going to be like top 5 on the list of people that they go after to prosecute. So that's not a bright future for her. Todd Blanche is trying to hold things off, from what I understand. I looked it up, you can have an acting attorney general in place for 210 days by law. And I think because of the midterms, and because he doesn't want to have to go through the Senate confirmation situation of whoever he comes up with, he may try and keep Todd Blanche in place for longer rather than shorter period of time. He may try and keep him in there as acting attorney general for as long as he can. All right, next thing I wanted to look at today. So, Hegs, this bloodbath, if you will, forcing the retirement of the Army Chief of Staff, Randy George, because why? There's a lot of theories going on around right now. A lot of it has to do with, there was a resistance to obeying illegal orders, essentially, with the amping up of the war, keeping in mind that Trump came out and said, we ain't got no money for daycare, and healthcare is at risk as well, because we got to pour all of our money into war. The budget that he's asking for next year, I understand, is $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon's budget for next year. Where's that money going to come from, right? But here's what I'm looking at as well. He also had said yesterday, in addition to letting forcing Randy George to resign, and there were two others, the chaplain, and someone else. I don't remember what, but there were three big firings in addition to some others that had enacted. But he also approved now that troops can carry personal firearms on military bases. For what? For what? Is he, two things, is he trying to incite essentially race wars on military bases? Because we also understand part of the friction between Hegseth and Randy George was that Randy George vigorously objected to the when Hegseth decided that these generals, black and otherwise, who were in line to be promoted, vigorously objected to that, and that really set up a clash between them. So now he's saying it's your God-given right to carry firearms on bases. We have the sun, we have the world. Whoa, Spirit is giving it to me on the bottom of the deck. We have the sun, we have the world, and we have the Empress. He's literally, Hegseth is literally trying to completely remake the military in his image, or in the image that he perceives is the way to go going forward. The sun is about life. The sun is also indicative of younger military people. He has made a concerted effort, we know, to indoctrinate younger military recruits who will fall more in alignment with his thinking and, his commands, versus those who are in the system, therefore those who would highly respect people like Randy George. You get it. So that's what I think the world is coming for, saying he's trying to just wipe the whole slate clean. The Empress is to grow his influence and to grow his ranks in the way that he envisions. Also, Spirit just said, but I want to double check, make sure it's not just me. Spirit, is this because right now Hegseth feels like he's the only thing Trump has going for him for the midterms. He's the leader, the Chariot. Thank you, because what this is speaking to is the Chariot moving the military forward. These military operations, many said, part of the reason why Trump agreed to send us into Iran was to distract from the momentum that the Epstein files were gaining, right? Remember, it was at a fever pitch before this happened, before the Iran war. So the Chariot, Hegseth thinks, or has been told by Trump, you're my guy, you're my point person. Bondi's not doing anything. Rubio, milquetoast, like, not, nobody's really even taking him seriously. Vance, since when did he ever, really champion anything? And we also know Spirit has said, I've read on that the tension between Vance and Trump is growing because Vance has got his political ambitions. So yes, Hegseth, the Chariot. And the Travelers. This is a bonus card in this deck. This is called the Curious Travels. I thought it was appropriate for today. Yes, he 100%. Look how strong this energy is coming. Hegseth is on, not, and this goes beyond just a ego trip, if you will. This goes, this is zealotry. This is, he honestly, like, has convinced himself that he's on some sort of righteous crusade to remake the military into an absolutely obedient, robotic, fascist organization, huge, with unlimited resources, not to mention the 170 billion that was approved last year, 1.5 trillion that's being floated around for next year, and that falls under his umbrella, Hegseth. So he, to say power trip, doesn't even touch it. He's like, I'm untouchable, essentially. Now, this situation with firearms on military bases. Spirit, is he afraid? Now tell me to pick this up and shuffle. Is Pete Hegseth afraid of a military coup? Is he allowing arms on the bases because he's actually afraid that he's going to get yanked out, that he's doing so much damage that those who are there, who are a part of the establishment, if you will, the military establishment, and soldiers who don't want to follow these orders, is he afraid? Is he putting his people in and approving these arms because he's afraid? He's afraid of a coup. Please show me the real reason why Pete Hegseth approved carrying personal firearms on military bases. What's his motivation for that? What's his reason for that? We have the Seven of Cups. He had a variety of reasons. Let's go deeper. The Hierophant. His position is to protect him. To protect him and to protect this new regime, essentially. This whole entire, and the Nine of Swords. He's extremely afraid. Thank you for the confirmation, Spirit. He is really afraid that somebody's going to turn and come after him. He understands that world that we saw in the other, in the other spread. He understands that his intentional and deliberate efforts to completely remake the military under this fascist image and to serve an authoritarian leader, he knows that there's resistance, and he's deciding Three of Wands. He knows that he wants to grow his own protection. So it's very deliberate to do that. Now, Seven of Swords, he's afraid of betrayal. He's absolutely afraid of betrayal. He's afraid of a coup. So he wants people on the base armed as he continues to convert recruits and personnel into, and being in alignment with his way of thinking. Justice. Spirit, is Hegseth going to get brought down? This war can only go on for so long. I hope. We hope, right? Are you showing me justice for him? The Ten of Swords. The Spirit is saying as quickly as he feels that he's being, he's rising into the stratosphere as some commando leader, is exactly how far he's going to fall and how hard he's going to fall and how he will be brought to justice. Page of Cups. Slow and death. A slow death. I'm not pleased with this, but I get the truth of it, which is it'll get worse before it gets better. It'll get worse before it gets better. But let's stay with that Ten of Swords, right? He's going to, and the way that he falls and the justice that is meted out to him is what my guides are saying. It will be in proportion to the destruction, because this is costing lives. This is absolutely going to cost lives, and it has already cost lives, right? All right. Wow. Let's see. Last thing I wanted to, two quick things. Iran. So we understand that now the objective, they're amping up. They have attacked a civilian bridge, and they're talking about going after Iran's power plants and infrastructure, right? That will impact its civilian population. We've seen some things floated around, and some of you have reached out and asked me around Iranian leaders have talked about going after big tech, right? Apple, Google, Amazon, etc. A lot of companies that they named. I think it was like up to 18 companies that they've named. Spirit, what is that about? Is that about energy interruptions, internet interruptions, banking system interruptions here in the country? What will happen? Is Iran going to be able to effectuate something against these big tech companies that will impact the American public, perhaps even global. The Four of Cups. The Page of Swords. The Seven of Pentacles. They're trying to figure out how to do it. And the reason I paused, because the Four of Cups is an energy of almost disillusionment or disappointment, or like I don't really want to do this, but I guess that I will. The Knight of Wands. Yeah, they almost feel like they don't have a choice. This was not something that aggressively they wanted to do, the Iranian regime, that they wanted to go after these companies. They don't. I get it. Thank you, Spirit. You know, we've seen a lot of things coming through, to the extent that, of course, we got to triple check everything that we see. But the tone that Iranian leadership has put forth towards the American people is, hey, we recognize you're not our enemies as a whole. We recognize that this is your government and not you. And so I think that's some of this disappointment in the Four of Cups and the Knight of Wands, where they feel like they're being pushed, because to go after these companies does impact. It may not cost human American lives per se, but it certainly disrupts and impacts life. And there's justice, but they're compelled to do it because they feel, you know, they can't just sit back and let this happen to their people. Spirit, are we going to have outages, internet outages, banking systems disrupted? Is this something we need to be aware of? The Hermit. I think so, you all. But it's because it's cutting us off from our services, cutting us off from communications. And the Moon. Yeah. And the Six of Wands. Queen of Swords. King of Swords. This is somebody within the government, and this might be a Tulsi Gabbard kind of situation, who also is in trouble, but we'll deal with that on another day. King of Swords, Queen of Swords. These are people here who would try and respond to that. Again, am I looking at Tulsi Gabbard and somebody else? The Seven of Cups, trying to assemble a team to deal with it. The Two of Wands, trying to assemble a team that is Tulsi and somebody else to try and address it. And the King of Pentacles, somebody within banking. That could very well be it as well. There's somebody within banking, I think, who is already in talks with Tulsi Gabbard, or somebody to try and mitigate the damages that they see coming. Because Iran has already announced, you do this, you and there's the Chariot. Yes. You do this, and we will disrupt your systems. We're not going to come after your people necessarily, but we're going to make life difficult for your people, which amps up the cause for the midterms and to get this regime out of there. All right. So right now, I feel like Spirit is saying, as we speak, there's Tulsi's involved, and with somebody that feels like in banking, or this could even be Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. But there's somebody they're already trying to figure out with that Two of Wands. They see it coming, and they're trying to figure out how to get around it. I'm not so sure that they will. It feels like at the very least there's going to be some sort of backlash. All right. I've already gone longer than I intended to today for my shorter videos, but I just want to ask one little quick petty question. Not petty. It does have consequences going out. Is Karoline Leavitt going to be replaced with Erika Kirk? Karoline has a baby due next month, May. Erika Kirk has been a permanent fixture in D.C. here of late. Trump gave a speech at an Easter luncheon where Erika was front and center, and shouted her out and said, I've been so betrayed by so many other people, referring to the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, others. I've been so betrayed, but I know you're my friend and you're a fantastic person. La, 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 la. Spirit. The Four of Pentacles. That's Karoline wanting to hold on. Remember, Karoline Leavitt went to work for Trump in 2024, in July of 2024, when her newborn baby was not even a week old. Who does that? Not even a week old. And went to work for this man. All right. So, Spirit, is Erika Kirk being groomed as his press secretary, as Trump's press secretary? The Queen of Wands, that's her. With all her outfits. Judgment. Change, recognition, and the Ace of Swords. Period. All right? She is being groomed. Now, whether he'll go through with it, that's another question. But Erika Kirk is being in lined up as the potential next press secretary to replace Karoline Leavitt. Now, whether that would be a temporary measure, because Karoline's going to fight for it with that Four of Pentacles we started out with. Karoline's going to fight for her spot. She's going to be like, look what I've done to sacrifice for you. But again, does that ever even matter? All right? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Please remember the hypes. Thank you for the super chats. I also want to mention that those of you who have done that, my members, thank you so very much. I appreciate you. Have a happy Easter this weekend if you celebrate. And always chin up, shoulders back, right? Remember to come from your heart. Stop, take a breath, check in with yourself. Sky above you always, and the earth beneath you, holding you steady. All right. I'll talk to you. I'll see you back here on Monday. All right. Bye.